Sid, Gino, Tanger, that core, but how fortunate do you feel to have that younger core of Rusty, Jake, Dumo to help shoulder that leadership? But I know you talked about them the other day from watching them grow, but watching them grow in that perspective, just.
Well, I think they're just an extension of the leadership group. I think they've benefited so much from being around the players like Sid and Tanger and Gino, and I think they've become an extension of those guys. So to have them around in a supporting leadership role for me just makes our room that much stronger.
Gino's line, Mike, what have you been impressed with, or what has driven play when they've been good so far? They've been pretty good numerically.
Yeah, they've been pretty good on the ice too. I think they're a dynamic line offensively. I think when they're at their best, they play a calculated game. They don't play a high risk game. We want them to play a smart game, and that's the word we use a lot with them. And certainly we want them to make plays. We want them to act on their instincts, but they've got to do it a certain way that gives us a better chance to win and gives them a better chance to be successful. I think when they're at their best, they play a smart game. They don't get stubborn through the neutral zone with the puck when there's no ice to play on. They put pucks deep and they create offense different ways, and they're capable of that. I think Rusty's so good on the forecheck. I think Zuck helps there as well, where they can force turnovers, put defensemen under pressure going back for pucks, and that line, as it's constructed, has developed a grind game, which I think has been really beneficial, because it's hard in this league to score only one way, off the rush, for example. If you're just a threat off the rush when teams have back pressure or they take the rush game away, well, then how are you going to score? That's I think an important aspect of it is to be able to create offense different ways, and I think that line's capable of that. But they also have to defend, and they've got to make sure that they have a conscience away from the puck, and they make good decisions when they have it. I think when they make good decisions with the puck, in particular going through the neutral zone, I think that sets them up for success.
Earlier on in your tenure, Gino didn't have as much of a grind game. Is that a fair statement? Has that been something that has maybe evolved over time with Rusty or Zuck?
I think he's developed it over the course of time, and I think a lot of it has to do with who we play him with. Okay. And when we play him with certain guys that can help him in that aspect of the game, Gino's capable of playing any type of game. He's a generational talent, and he's capable of playing any game. And so the most important thing for us is we're trying to surround him with the right people that give him the ability to create offense different ways. And when you look at Rusty and Zuck, for example, those are two guys that thrive in that environment.
Whereas the top three lines feature guys that have played a lot of time together, there's familiarity there. With the fourth line, it's being comprised of guys who don't have that familiarity, don't have that chemistry maybe just yet. What have you seen from that group as those three try to build familiarity, and how do you assess overall how the fourth line has played so far?
Well, I think they've played well, and I think I think they have they've in the short time they've been together, they've developed their own identity for the team. They get pucks deep. They play a simple game. All three of them have played a number of games in this league, so they've got a lot of experience, and I think they understand the type of game they need to play to help us win. And that game specifically is playing a straight ahead game, making good decisions with the puck. I think they can be a great momentum line for us. They can help us sustain and create momentum when we don't have it, and just through their forecheck and putting pucks deep and hanging on to pucks and being hard to play against. They're a line that we've utilized in the defensive zone against other teams' top lines on occasion, depending on circumstances. So they're a conscientious line defensively. They can help us create momentum with their pursuit game up the ice, and I think those guys clearly understand that. So obviously they haven't played together a whole lot, being new to the team. With each game they get under their belt, I think they'll get that much more comfortable with some of their own individual tendencies that they'll learn.
Mike, Bluger today went out wearing a gold jersey, but then switched to gray before the drill started. Was there a misunderstanding or a late change of plans? Or
I have no idea. my guess is, yeah, my guess, we changed the jerseys before we went out. We originally had them in lines and we put them into power play, penalty kill jerseys before we went out. That might have had something to do with it.
Is there any update on his injury status, and is it safe to assume that he won't be in the lineup tomorrow night?
His status is day to day. We'll see how that goes. I would not anticipate him being in the lineup tomorrow night just based on where he's at. But we'll make that decision tomorrow. You know, his progress is encouraging, and we'll see where it takes us.
Mike, going right off of that, I think it was the last preseason morning skate, you said that you hoped that he could get some contact leading into the opener. Obviously, he's missed a few games now. Has there been any sort of setback during that time that's made it a bit longer than
Teddy?
Yeah. Originally expected?
No, there hasn't been any setbacks. It's just a matter of him going through a process, and you know, and that's why we're always reluctant to give you guys time frames, because if every player's different, and no matter what the injury is, and so you know, if we give you guys specific time frames and we don't meet those time frames, then there's all kinds of speculation, and just for simplicity's sake, you know, we prefer not to do that for these very reasons. So there have been no setbacks. Teddy's going through a process, and when he's ready to play, we'll let you know.
Mike, what's gone into Gino's success on draws so far, and has that allowed him to get more opportunities, especially in the offensive zone, taking those draws?
It's probably a better question for him than me. I think Gino's a very capable guy. I always felt that way, and when Gino places an emphasis on any aspect of his game, he tends to be good at it, because he's a talented player. And you know, you look at how strong he is, his hand-eye coordination, his stick skills, things of that nature. He has all the attributes to be very good in the face-off circle, and he's shown an ability to do that at times throughout certainly my tenure here as the coach. And so when he values something, he's good at it, and that's been my experience coaching him. And he's getting opportunities because he's having success in the face-off circle. Not so much in the offensive zone, but even more so in the defensive zone.